Trent, how's Boyd's preparation been for this game?
Yeah, really good. As I said, Danny, last week he trained well, trained over the weekend on Saturday game day, and then back into it this week. So it's been preparation as normal for Boyd and ready to play.
How would you describe his approach and his mood and his outlook?
Focused as normal, I would say. I think, as we know, Boyd's quite a competitive guy and a driven guy, and that's it's just been him driving his standards and driving the team as a captain as well. So he's just been straight back into that attitude. He had it last week as well. Obviously didn't get to play, and he's come back in with a similar attitude this week.
Do you ever allow yourself to really sit back and admire the way he approaches things?
Yeah, Danny, that's the beauty of being a coach of a group of guys. You get, coaching's the easy part. You get to watch these guys, spend time with them during the week, a lot of time with them, and then you watch them train, and then you go out and watch them play. And all you have to do is talk. So you have to admire the players that go out there and do it each week. And Boyd's definitely at the top of that list.
Was there any thought in your mind about it doing a mass resting of players like some other coaches have done?
No, we've had our thoughts and our process over the last 6 weeks. We've been sort of knowing where players are at. So there's a balance between knowing which guys you want to get some rest. Guys, we had a group that were out for a period of time only sort of 4 weeks ago. So there's good to get some consistency of play in those guys. And then there's other guys that have played every game, a bit like Joey Manu, who won't play this week.
Do you play then?
You go. No, you go.
I was going to say, do you prefer doing it that way, Robert? Like, do you feel like it's the best way is resting a couple at a time rather than going in bulk to make sure you don't lose momentum as far as your season goes?
Look, there's different methods for that. I think you have a plan at the start of the season. So as soon as we walk back in, you've got a plan. Then you reassess that every couple of weeks about where players are at. If any unforeseen circumstances have come along, where you're sitting on the table, and you have your plan and you believe in it, and that hasn't deviated for us. So there's been we know our path and we know what we've wanted to do, and we've adapted on the run, and so that's and we're ready to play tomorrow night with in a Roosters style again.
Obviously you've sat on competition committees and all kinds of committees with the NRL. How do you view the balance between making sure teams have the preparation they want with resting players, be it in bulk or in small numbers, versus having the best players possible in the field for the best product for the game?
Yeah, look, I think we've always had this debate around Origin. This is a unique competition. We've gone 18 games straight, so this is something new. No players have, I don't think, played 18 games straight. The Origin guys have come in and out. Sometimes there's 10-day breaks in between. This is quite unique. So therefore, and then the intensity of the game's gone up with rule changes. So you add that in on home isolation before it. So therefore you make a call about how you're going to do that. That's what the job of coaches are and performance staff. So that's you make sure that you're feeling the heartbeat of your team and your individual players as well and what they need.
And as a coach, you'd say, that's got to be the top priority for coaches, right? Like to make sure your time and your run for your title or premiership or whatever to the best of your ability. It's not about, ensuring the product is great. Not saying anyone's done that, but just in general, it's not your concern isn't about ensuring the product is great. Your concern is making sure your team achieves what that's to achieve. Yeah,
look, I don't think that. I don't think we've ever disrespected the game or the product or the jersey. I think players that don't play each week are still very good players. We don't hand out anything for free. And So there's a balance of all of those things that go into your decision, but it's never to disrespect the game or the jersey.
But can I just ask you about Keary? Obviously, there was a bit of talk in the pre-season about, I suppose, not having Cooper there and the role that might mean he would have to take on. That chat seems to have gone away this season, probably because he's become the premier playmaker in the competition. How have you seen his game, not only in the last 12 months, but since he arrived at the club? How we go, 5, 6 years ago, isn't it? Now.
Yeah, look, he's he's getting older. He's sort of 27, 28 now. I think you've seen the maturity in his game over the last couple of years. So it was very good for us to have a senior half, a very, very old half in Cooper Cronk. So it's good to see a guy that is a senior player, has lots of experience, to step that up this year. Okay, so it's been really good to, just to see his development, and it's a natural development. He hasn't had to force it; it's in him, and he's that's his role. He knew that was his role coming into this season.
I suppose as an extension, like you're comfortable with where he's at, I suppose, in the half pairing route without Cooper being there on the field ahead of the biggest part of the season, I suppose.
Yeah, we've formed our team. We're very confident in our team and where it's at, and that constantly happens. People come and go, and an amazing player for us. But that was last year. That's not this year. That's been a long time ago. Very focused on the roles of everybody for this year.
And just one more from me. Just on Angus Crichton, he's named it 13. He spoke a couple of weeks ago about how he does consider himself an edge player. How's he taking that news that he'll be trucking through the middle for 80 minutes potentially?
Yeah, I think we've all been quite impressed with the way that Angus has been playing and carrying the ball and getting as many touches for him as possible is pretty important to the way that we play. So it'd be good to get him out there to let him run freely.
Robbo, Matt Logan, I just want to ask about Lachlan Lamb. He's on the bench. What sort of role will he play there? And I think Jake mentioned yesterday that potentially coming on at 9. And do you feel like Lachlan, given his versatility, his speed, be a bit of an X factor heading into the final?
Yeah, Lachlan developed really well throughout the pre-season and then into the season. Missed probably the first 5-6 games. But it's really good to have that versatility, a bit like Orbo, of multiple positions. He can play many positions there. He's dynamic. He's got good vision. It's good. He obviously had the ankle injury and is right for this game, so it's good to get him back out there.
So you're planning to play? You can play in multiple, so you could come on anywhere.
Yeah, he's played. Obviously, I think he would have played 3 or 4 positions to date. That is the plan. That's that utility plan, playing in different positions.
Mate, Kyle Flanagan, where do you see his biggest improvement, and do you feel like the challenges and the lessons that he's learned this year, do you feel like that will only help him in the bigger games? And I believe his first final series coming up. Yeah,
Matt, I'd say tomorrow night's our focus for that, but he's. I think you can see the way that he goal kicks, the way that he plays. He's very clear on his role and how he wants to execute that, and he drives himself and our team along those lines. So his continual progression in the voice that he's got and in the way that he's attacking that role has been great. So looking forward to that tomorrow night.
You've been impressed with him, like the way he's handled it, his attitude. Obviously, he was a bit down about being demoted, but do you feel like that's made him a better player?
Yeah, definitely. That's life, isn't it? There's it's not always smooth sailing, and the bumps in the road teaches great lessons. As long as we want to pick him up, and he has, and he's continued to drive forward, which is important.
Trent, you played sorry.
Sorry, mate. Just wanted to, maybe in a similar vein, what's the difference with Gus this season last year?
Oh, I thought Gus played really well last year. I think he's even sort of discussed about just the clarity of the style of play and just the subtle differences that we want from him. The guy's a year older. I think we forget how young Gus is. He's 23, just turned 24, he's a beast of a guy. So his ability to play physical has always been there, and he's continuing to develop the knowledge of the game. So it's been good. Even a right foot kick there last weekend showed his ability.
Sorry, I've had myself on mute the entire time, so I missed a few follow-ups. Just with the discussion around resting players, and I wanted to see, in a normal year, where would you think Origin fits best, in the middle of the year or at the end of the season?
Yeah, Dan, to be honest, that's a question for me in the off-season. I'm not going to sort of go into that at this time of year. Hypotheticals for me, they're not going to be. I don't need to have an opinion on that at this time of year. I'll stay sort of in the now.
All right, mate. Check in November.
Thanks, Dan.
Trent, mate, just interested in your approach to training, mate. Given you guys have been here, the last few years, obviously, is your approach as far as drills, your time on the track that you're doing at the moment, similar to what you've done the past few years, or are you still tinkering with what how you approach this time of the year?
Yeah, good question, Jeff. There, so without going into too much detail, otherwise. But to give you an honest answer on that, you know your template about how you train throughout the year. You stick solid with your routine. Human beings like routine and consistency of that. And then you tinker year to year based on where the game's evolved to, what the age of your group, the training needs, how many games have they led into. So you have your template, and then you manipulate along the way with the season that you're in and the rules of that season. It feels very similar, but then you do manipulate for intricacies of individuals, team, season.
So even though you obviously had success the last few years, were there lessons still in your preparation that you picked up, and maybe things like how much time would you be spending on the track now, percentage-wise compared to what you were doing maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, those. There's a period in the season, again, without giving too much away, about what you start the season with and what you end, and there's a percentage decrease in that, in how you periodise the season. But then also, there's always lessons, but last year wasn't good enough for this year. This year has to improve. You just don't do something and then try and hold on to it. You remember the best lessons out of it, then you say, no, we should have done this or that, and keep pushing for better. Because 2020 is better than 2019, so you've got to keep pushing as performance team, as coaching team, and as players for that.
Thanks, mate.
Trent, we sort of all expected Sonny Bill to be a 30-minute player. I think he played around 50 minutes last week. What was the thinking there, and what did you think, and how's he faring for this week?
Yeah, it was great, Danny. Sonny and I talked before the game that I was going to leave him out there for as long as possible, as much experience on the field as in lots of different ways. So doing good ball sets, deep yardage sets, on the edge, in the middle, on the goal line, in the yardage, all different experiences and different combinations. Just keep going, build the fitness, build the combinations. Let's get as much as we can in each game. And I've really liked everything that he's had to go through there.
Is that in preparation in case he has to play longer in the finals? And is that the way you're thinking?
Yeah, I think with everybody, you want to get them ready for. Everybody has to get ready for 80 minutes, even front rowers. So if you see Jared or Siwa, they will play 80 minutes sometimes. Whereas if everybody in your team's ready to play 80 minutes, then you get choice about how you play.